How does marketing and packaging impact your healthy eating choices? Check it out.
Welcome to the latest instalment of Growth Strength X's food tutorial, food updates. Nutritional updates.
That's the word.
That's the word we're looking for, and that is what we're focusing on at the moment. We're trying to get you as healthy as possible. We're trying to get you the best nutritional value as possible. One thing that we have always come across, particularly when you go to the supermarket, is it's the minefield of what foods are what. So natural, organic, homemade, fresh, authentic. What's the difference? Is there any difference? Well, that's what we're going to explore today. So first thing we're going to go over is organic versus natural and how people often get that misunderstood. They sound similar. Sometimes natural sounds even better sometimes than perhaps organic, but organic has much higher nutritional value. And we'll go over the reasons why. So we're just going to bring this bar graph up.
So organic versus natural. So as you can see, the organic, we've got completely free of anything. So pesticides, genetically modified organisms, growth hormones, everything. So it's naturally grown in the ground, straight to your plate.
So in comparison to natural, why is it that natural products have GMOs? Why is it that genetically modified? Why is it they have growth hormones, etc.? It's due to availability, and organic food isn't as well mass produced because obviously when it's organically made, you've got only so many people that can make it. Essentially, when it's genetically modified, when it has growth hormones, they can be mass produced by big companies, and they can get it out there as quickly as possible, and they can keep them fresher for longer.
And that's why it's cheaper.
Yes, and then pesticides get put on it, so they can obviously repel, Pests, like insects from getting on the actual fruits and vegetables, etc. They do depreciate in value of nutrition. So with organic foods, you often find that they can be up to 5, even sometimes 10 times more nutritionally valuable. So if you look at it in terms of a price point, you would assume that organic is a lot more expensive, 20, 30, 50p more expensive. But if it's 5 times nutrition,
it's worth it.
Yes. You're thinking, well, you've got to eat 5 times as many bananas to get 1 banana's value from an organic. So that was why we'd always say, pick organic over natural. It's worth the extra bit of money.
If you can.
You definitely can. Because if you're going out on the weekend and spending 90 or 100 pounds on alcohol, surely you can save yourself 50p by buying maybe 2 less pints. And, over the period, you've saved yourself £6 per week. That's definitely enough to afford organic. And it's healthier.
So, in the whole thing about organic versus natural, we're not saying the natural is actually bad. It's just maybe not as good as organic.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about what actually is natural. So a natural food is something that's had nothing added to it once it's been picked, basically. So a natural pepper, for example, would be, so even if it had GM crops on it, it's had pesticides, but once it's picked out of the ground, it's taken to the supermarket, it's then sold. That's a natural pepper.
Nothing added, nothing taken away.
Yes, compared to an organic pepper, which is no pesticides, no genetic modification, it's picked out of the ground, it's taken to the shopping centre. That's the difference between natural and organic. So natural is still fine.
Yes. Now, the minefield of what isn't fine. So that's the next minefield we're going into. So we're looking at the difference between organic and natural, and on the grand scheme of things, they're both not that bad. However, organic is always the first go-to.
Yes.
Now we're looking into things that are mass produced, that look good on paper, or even look good because the way they advertise it seems like it's fresh, it seems like it's well made, it seems natural or even organic.
Yeah.
But it's not. So the next topic we're going to go over is authentic, homemade, and other processes like that.
Yes. So briefly go over the homemade section. So with homemade, there's a very sneaky thing they do with the marketing. So you have homemade and a homemade recipe. So something that's homemade is something that's made in the home or a domestic environment. So smaller companies tend to be more homemade. However, things like Aunt Bessie's homemade Yorkshire puddings, they have a homemade recipe. It says homemade recipe on there. So the recipe of that Yorkshire pudding was created in the home. However, it's now, that recipe has been taken into a mass production. So it's a homemade recipe. So it doesn't mean it's homemade, it's just a homemade recipe. So it hasn't changed, but it's just mass produced. That's the difference.
And that means that sometimes the recipe might not actually be the best.
Yes.
Just because it's homemade doesn't mean it's the best. Doesn't mean that it's better than organic or natural. In fact, homemade can actually usually be quite crap. So just be careful.
Sugar and
yeah. I mean, if you think about something like jam, for instance, it can be freshly homemade, but if you look at something like this, it's fairly empty, but it looks very well branded. It looks very well designed. And a lot of people, home buyers, that type of thing, they'll be like, oh, look, it's homemade. And you'll be like, oh, great. And then you look at the back and you're like, oh, yeah, raspberries. Oh, sugar. Oh, glucose, fructose syrup, acidity regulator, citric acid, gelling agents.
Who has gelling agents in their home?
Exactly.
So it's been mass produced. So that homemade recipe has been taken into a mass production. So they've probably added a few things in there, which leads us on to authentic. So an authentic homemade recipe would be the exact recipe has been taken, and that is the exact recipe from the home that has been used. So no mass-produced additives in there to preserve it. If it's authentically homemade, it is literally made in the home. That recipe is not changed from the point it's left the home to its mass production.
Yeah, again, it doesn't mean that it's well done. It just means it was authentically made.
Yes. So it means I created the recipe in my house.
Yeah.
And then Jonny stole it and took it to a huge factory and made loads of it.
Jelly beans can be authentically made. Doesn't mean it's good for you.
Yes.
So when something's authentic or homemade, you just look at it and go, no, not for me, probably. Very rarely you will see really good fresh ingredients from authentic or homemade.
Yeah.
If you see organic or naturally made, then of course it's going to be a lot better. But just be careful. Look out for the signs.
For example, organic whole grain rice has everything in here. Even the emulsifiers are soy based, so everything is organic. So there's nothing out of the ordinary here. So organic is what it says in the tin. And Uncle Ben's has no artificial colours, flavours or preservatives. So big green label, green means go, obviously it's great for you. But look at the ingredients. We have modified maize starch, we've got acidity regulators. Yes, all sorts of acid regulators. So nothing organic in there at all. So things with no nutritional value.
There are a lot of fresh peppers, that type of stuff in there. But if you want that, just go to the shop, get your own organic peppers, get your own organic food, and make it yourself. It doesn't take that long to chop up a couple of peppers, make your own chili. It literally takes like 10 minutes to prepare, and then maybe about 10 minutes, 15 minutes to cook, depending on how much you're making. Then you've got batches of it. You can do like 8, 9, and it saves yourself a lot of money as well. Yeah. So going organic is actually cheaper sometimes. So we're going into the final one, which is supplementation. And supplementation is always processed. If it comes in a package like this, functional foods, really annoys me because it doesn't make sense, and it's spelled wrong as well. Anyway, so anything that's like this, even vegans ones, yes, that's vegans, that's whey, that's all of them. They're all processed, so they're not made out of exactly what they say they are. They've always got added preservatives in, and things that keep them like lasting for a very long time. If you just had the actual pea, then it would be a lot better than having the pea protein. So always go for food and favour food over products such as supplementation. If you don't have the time to cook, or you really need to get something in quickly, supplementation is fine in that circumstances. Or if you're just adding to your food.
That's why it's a supplement, not your actual food.
Mm-hmm.
If you like this video, guys, make sure you check out our nutritional playlist. I've created one. It'll be here on this side. Subscribe. And then all of our other videos here. So check us all out. Check them all out.
And subscribe.
Subscribe.
And subscribe. Share and subscribe. Not subliminal messaging at all. Subscribe.
Okay. Quickly touch up on the homemade thing. Right, so homemade. Stop. No, go again.
You said touch up.